Hey there everybody, what's going on? This is Gary, your host for this full review and my thoughts video of the new from Horizon Hobby Losi LST 3XL-E. Now this is a 1/8 scale four-wheel drive monster truck that you can get from Losi for about $700 plus tax. You can pretty much get it anywhere that sells Losi and eBay, Amazon, all that good stuff. Losi does not accept coupons though, so that's pretty cool. Not really. Anyways, anywho, so we got this pretty much right when it came out. We have tested it. I've been frustrated with it, I've been happy with it, and I'm just going to get into the review and kind of try and make this one quick. I don't want to overdo it, but I do want to give you guys all the information you would like to know about this rig to help you possibly decide whether you feel like it might be worth your hard-earned money to buy this thing. Now, just to go over the specs of the truck, it does come with the dynamite fuse system in it. We'll just pop the cap off. But it does come with the dynamite fuse system. It's got the 2200 kV 4-pole brushless motor. It does have the fuse 150 amp 3 to 6S LiPo compatible ESC, which is a rebranded Hobbywing Quick Run. So if you have a Hobbywing Quick Run program card, you can actually program this. This is pretty much the standard that comes with almost everything, and people just put their stickers on it. Okay, so it does, there's a few upgrades on this truck that we'll talk about other than that, but yeah, that's basically, you know, the kind of oldie but goodie stuff. Now we'll talk about the newer stuff. It does have a completely redesigned main chassis. Outside of that, the front and rear diff, everything, A-arms, shocks and stuff, they are a different color, but all of that stuff is exactly the same except for this hinge that they've put on the rear shock tower to allow you to flip the body up instead of having to take the body off. The main chassis piece is redesigned, but like I said, the front and rear, everything, bumpers, all that stuff is exactly the same as the XXL2E. Okay, so a few upgrades that this thing did come with is it does have the newly designed chassis, so it does have this new style of battery tray. We'll talk about that a little more later when we go over the pros and cons. But it does have the Spectrum S904 1/6 scale steering servo that is said to be 18 kg. I'm not sure what that amounts to in inches of torque, but I know 18 kg isn't that high. I have standard servos that I get for like 10 bucks a pop that have more turning power than that, and it tends to be kind of slow. It does have these chassis mounted Ec5 connectors. We'll go over that in a little bit. Another big huge upgrade that they did do is they did put a center diff in here, so that is a definite positive. But basically that's what it, you know, all the new goodies it comes with. It does come with this newly designed body, which depending on your taste, you could like it, you could not like it. I tend to like the older body better from the XXL2E, but this one's kind of grown on me. Another thing that it does have is it does have these screws down here that tell you what kind of pinion and where to put all of that stuff. Alrighty, so going over some pros and cons with this thing. We'll just dive into it. So I'm going to give the hinged body a pro. I actually do like that. Instead of having to take 4 body clips off, set the body aside, try and keep track of your body clips. You only have 2 body clips, and I actually do like it. It's easy to work on. It flips up and out of the way. It is kind of high when it's flipped up like that, so you know, if you have a workbench with an overhang or whatever, it might be a little bit, you know, awkward to try and work on this thing. But the way my workbench is and everything, I actually appreciate that hinge, so I'm going to go ahead and give it a positive. My first negative of this truck is going to be these Ec5 connectors that are chassis mounted. I think this is a huge flop right here. All the problems I had with this truck originated from this right here. I don't own any Losi products myself. I tend not to hang on to them. Not to say that I don't like Losi or anything like that. I just, I only have a few RCs that I keep for myself, for my own personal use, and they never just quite make the team, I guess you could say. So I don't have any batteries with Ec5 connectors. I do have a couple different style of converters, and I was having a huge problem with that. That was my main problem with this truck. I couldn't get full power or anything because the converters I have are old from when I actually had my own XXL 2E, and I used them and used them and used them, so they're kind of sloppy and everything. I wasn't getting full power out of this thing, and that was the whole reason why. So I'm going to give this a huge fail from Losi, trying to force your plugs on people by doing this chassis mounted stuff. I mean, I think that is just low. I honestly believe that is just some kind of marketing pitch that that you guys really should rethink, because that is definitely uncalled for. I mean, everybody else, well, most companies use, you know, relatively the same plugs, and while the EC5 plug is a good plug, I mean, it's Horizon Hobby basically specific, so you know, it's not like a T plug or a Dean's plug where you can actually run the same batteries in several different vehicles. These only come from Horizon Hobby. They are Losi specific basically, and I just think that's a really low thing to do, to try and push your plugs on people. So I'm just gonna stop ranting on that there, but I do think that is absolutely not cool. Moving to another positive, this truck, when on the few occasions I did get the connectors to actually hook up right and actually give me full power, this thing does have a lot of power. This combo in here, the Hobby Wing Quick Run, is an amazing ESC. It's my favorite ESC that comes in RTRs, for sure, hands down. I really like this ESC. This 2200 kV 4-pole brushless motor, awesome, has ton of power, and as I said, a huge pro is that they did put this center diff in here, so the actual front and rear diff I didn't have a problem with. I have heard that people have been having problems with their diffs still. I know the whole reason I got rid of my XXL 2E was because it would just blow the diffs out constantly. I didn't have that truck very long, and I went through 3 diffs, and at $50 a pop, I'm not willing to just keep replacing the diffs. So them putting the center diff in here is a huge upgrade. I very highly appreciate that. Now, to kind of get away from the truck a little bit and to go to the transmitter, this is the Spectrum DX2E with the AVC, basically the same thing you always get from them. But it does have the upgrade of the low, medium, and high switches to kind of give this thing low power, medium power, high power. I don't understand why they put it on a switch. They could have just done a knob on here for throttle dual rate. I would have preferred that actually to the switch thing, because you don't really get to manage it as fine-tunedly as you can with a knob for throttle dual rate. So as I've said in several review videos, I believe that every transmitter should come with throttle dual rate. That way you can actually buy a decent high-grade RC with a lot of power for somebody that's new to the hobby, and turn it down and then turn it up as their skills advance. But this is a good second place to that, because on low, medium, and high you can actually manage this thing relatively well. And I'm gonna give this transmitter, instead of like throwing it aside like I normally do, this one is actually a little bit better than the one they send with like 99% of their rigs, because of the small upgrades with the low, medium, high setting. And they actually decided to put a little color on it, so that's actually pretty nice. Okay, so getting back to the truck, huge pro is the suspension. Absolutely amazing. Losi has that set in stone. These big bore shocks that they give you, the aluminum bodied, threaded, absolutely huge. I think they're 23 or 24 millimeter. They're just awesome. The suspension on these things is second to none. Also, the adjustability you get with this truck is absolutely on par. I mean, from the suspension and everything, you can dial this thing in. You can go off huge jumps. You can make it nice and soft, slam it down, you know, do some speed runs. Awesome, awesome stuff. So, the tires too, I'm going to give the tires a huge pro. I like these tires. The rims, I'm going to give an eh. Because just like all the nice shiny rims I've had on RTRs, these do the same thing. The first time you clean it, they start flaking off, and yeah, it just basically goes bad from there. So that's kind of a bummer, but they do look good out of the box, and the tires, I am glad to say, are amazing. So with that system, this thing was said to be able to do 50 plus miles an hour on 6S on high. I didn't get anywhere near that because like I said, those plugs, I couldn't get it to hook up and give me full power, which is really unfortunate. It's nothing wrong with the truck, but I'm not going to get a set of batteries, you know, spend $100 to get a set of batteries that I'll only be able to use when I'm reviewing a Losi product. It's just, it's not worth it to me. Depending on how, I mean, I don't know. I'm just not a fan of the Ec5 because it's just Losi specific. I can't rail on that enough. I'm not going to buy a set of batteries in the hopes that someday in the future I have another Losi product that I have to, or Horizon Hobby product that I am going to review. But this does have Mod 1 gearing without the wheelie bar, which is a huge con. I hate that wheelie bar. Please don't even put it on the truck. Just put it in the bag so that people can actually be like, you know what, I'm never going to use that. Send it with the bumper. That is a positive though. I did contact them because this thing is supposed to come with the optional rear bumper and didn't. I contacted Horizon Hobby and they actually sent me the rear bumper in 2 days. So that was a positive. It does come with Mod 1 gearing, and you know, you can tune that to make it go a little faster, you know, a little bit slower depending on what you want, how you bash, what you want out of this truck. It is 23 inches long without the wheelie bar. It's going to run you 18.5 inches wide, and it is 11 inches high, or just a hair under 11 inches. Now, since we've gone over all of that stuff, I'm going to basically kind of tell you what I think about this truck. Starting off, the durability is respectable. This thing took a couple hits, several rollovers and stuff. I was very skeptical of this rear hinge. It turned out to be no problem at all. It took everything I basically hit this thing with. The only problem I had was I broke a shock rod end, and a rear rim when I ran into that drum that was buried in the ground. I'll go ahead and show that now. Wow. Yep, I broke it. Yeah, that's kind of embarrassing, isn't it? But that was the only, as far as durability issues, that was the only thing I had at all. And I just have this tiny small crack in the front of the body because after a little bit of bashing, the body tends to want to come, like, fold itself over the front bumper for some reason. But it's not a bad crack at all, just a little tiny crack on the front right there. The rest of the body held up perfectly, beautifully. You guys can see that it's still in very, very good shape. Other than that, like I said, when I was able to get full power, this thing does have a lot of power, especially 6S on the high setting. It's got good power. I'm not going to take that away from this truck. The chassis design, as I said, is it's kind of I'm not a huge fan of the battery tray design. I really don't like that hole they put in there. It's been raining a lot here, so the ground is kind of sticky and everything. But if it was the middle of summer and all that stuff was tore up and loose, I would have had a ton of stuff in those battery trays. So that's going to be a negative. I forgot to mention that in the pros and cons. But that hole in the chassis, I don't agree with that either. You guys should have left that just straight, you know, chassis. I don't understand the whole, maybe for some cooling reasons to keep your lipos cooler or something, I don't know, but that was a fail on the design part. Like I said, the suspension on these trucks is amazing. Basically just my thoughts of this truck are it's a good rig, and if you feel like spending the money to buy this truck, I'm not going to tell you no. But as far as me personally, would I purchase this truck for myself after testing it right now? No. I'm not going to spend over $700 to get this truck to me. I just don't feel like it's worth 700 bucks. You know, if they drop the price $100 to $600, because if they drop the price to $600, you're going to pay almost $700 anyways with tax. Especially if you need to have a couple of batteries converted for this or have to buy a couple batteries. So, you know, as far as do I think this thing's value for dollar is there? Close. I think this thing's value is close to what they charge for it, but not all the way there. And that's basically what I think of it. It's a good, fun bashing truck. It is set up well. It is durable. But as far as it for me, I don't see this thing. I don't look at this thing and say, wow, I would totally pay $700 for that. You know, I would think a little bit more about it if it was around $600. If it was like $550, I would definitely pick one of these up. But as far as being $700, I personally don't think it's worth it. It could be worth it to some people, but it isn't worth that much to me. And that's where I'm going to leave it. Please check out the description. Subscribe if you're new here. Go ahead and shoot a thumbs up on this video if you did like it and it was informative and or entertaining. Don't be shy about smashing that thumbs down if you didn't. As I said, the description, there's a bunch of stuff down there. There's a link where you can go check out all the stuff at GearBest. You can get a hoodie, 2 different t-shirts, a coffee mug to help support the channel. You can also get in on any ongoing or upcoming raffles via the donation link down there. And as always, get out there, get an RC, go have some fun, and we'll see you right back here on the next video. Everybody, you guys take it easy, and we will see you then. Peace!